So this question, what is branding on a website, is another question that I've had a lot of prospects come to me asking me about, especially, when finding out what it is that I can do for them, especially when it comes to web designing. So when they understand the entirety as to what is branding on a website, they get it, it clicks for them. And I would imagine it's going to be the same for you, especially off the back of watching this video. Now, before we get stuck into it, I'm Tanya, the founder of the Teen Genius Designs Group Limited, and I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in this particular video, we're going to be talking about what is branding on a website. They're key, simple things, and it's not going to take long. Thankfully, it's going to be clear cut, direct, and straight to the point for you to be able to just really get to grips of or with, and to be able to go ahead and implement, because people need to understand the reputation that you have to offer, but equally people need to understand and be coherent as to what it is that your brand is about. So before we get stuck into this video, please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because as always, I've got super key information to be able to share with you just like this, and it will take you through all the things that you need to know about branding, websites, flyers, posters, roller banners, wherever it may be. I will take you on that journey to be able to understand how to go about doing so. But even more specifically, I'm going to help to make sure that you understand what branding is and really is not. So that being said, please make sure you go ahead and stick around to the very end, because as always, I've got something to be able to share with you that will help you to start implementing things to your brand and actually start taking action with your brand today. You can actually get going with quite a few things, more than what you actually think about. So stick to the very end of this video so that you can actually take action with it. Well, with that being said, folks, let's get stuck into it. So, okay, as I said, we're going to be talking about what is branding on a website. And quite clearly, I'm going to share with you some key specific points, things that you will see generally now, especially when you look on any website, that will really stand out to you. And they are elements of a brand. Now, a brand, as we know, right, is all about the way you make people feel, what people are actually saying about you. And that actually stems from all the little intricacies that you're already showcasing. Those intricacies can come by way of color, by way of font, by way of tone of voice, by way of your actual brand message, the core message that you're about. That all stems from what's known as your brand power of 3. Now, you would have heard me talk about this stuff till I'm blue in the face on quite a lot of these videos. Your brand power of 3 is all about your values, your vision, and your purpose. With these 3 key things, they build up on what's known as the perception or the awareness of what it is or who it is that you are. When you understand your brand power of 3, you will understand what your colors should be, what your fonts should look like, all the way through to what your tone of voice should even sound like. And for those of you who get stuck on what tone of voice is, it literally is, sometimes it's abbreviated to TOV, but it literally is the way you speak. What is the way you speak? Do you speak with a little slang? Do you speak very posh? Do you have key phrases that you typically say? One of my clients, hers is stay hydrated. What is it for you? Your tone of voice could always include your slogan. It could always include a strapline. It could always include something or a phrase that you constantly say. Whatever that is, make sure you're consistent with it. Because when you're consistent with it, you start building on what's known as your reputation. Now, here's what I'd like you to always remember. And I've said this before in a few other videos, but I want to say it to you here right now. Repetition equals reputation. Repetition equals reputation. The more and more you hear, see, or even think about something, is the more and more it's going to be staying top of mind into your clients' heads, into your prospects' eyes. However you want to phrase it, they're going to be seeing and understanding who you are, even when they're not actually looking at your stuff. The power of understanding what your color is, the power of understanding what phrasings you say, is a hell of a lot more than what you're actually thinking. You could be at a picnic, drinking something, or looking at a red color, or looking at something else, and start thinking about the images of Coca-Cola. It could be thinking about a whole bunch of things that start popping into your mind. Whatever that popular brand is to yourself, you're going to naturally think about it. And that's essentially the same thing that will start happening when it comes to the likes of your website. If you are consistent with your colors, your brand colors, for me, mine is yellow. If you are consistent with your own brand colors, anytime that somebody is away from your stuff, the color that you have representing yourself will naturally allow them to start thinking of you even more so because of the reputation you've now created for yourself. Equally, when it comes to the font styles as well, when you actually tap into what your values are, when you tap into who it is and what it is that you stand for, those fonts actually become a hell of a lot clearer. It's funny, you wouldn't think about it, but it actually does. It's a Times New Roman font versus an Arial font. The difference or the characteristics that they actually both have that are different can actually portray a different kind of a feel. So what is it for yourself? Now, I'll showcase to you just a couple of examples of web designs that I've actually created myself. And I want you to take from it and understand just how key certain things are actually laid out, but more specifically, just how the colors are, because this is what suits my client. So what does it suit you? How is it suiting you? When you understand what your colors, your fonts, I cannot stress to you enough what they are, or by way of understanding what your brand power of 3 are, you'll be able to understand that, you know what, because I know my value is freedom, I want to have a really striking, powerful, strong red color. And with that red color, I'm also going to make sure that I use a really thin linear font because it gives me the space to even think and be free. Do you see what I've done there, folks? The values, the vision of what that value can actually entail, but equally how I also want my outcome to be in terms of like for my clients, in terms for my audience. It can be a bit of a mindful and I totally appreciate it. But however, this is why I give to you things in bite-sized chunks, just so you can get it. But more specifically, if you are still stuck in it, please reach out to me in my DMs underneath this video. And there are other ways to be able to have a conversation with myself, because that's what I want to make sure that you do, is actually take yourselves that one next step further. I get it. Branding is a lot, right? However, it's not a lot when you split it up in bite-sized chunks, and equally it's not a lot when you just take one thing step at a time. Especially when it comes to understanding what the perception of your business is, especially when it comes to the understanding of how you can actually build on the awareness of what it is that you are, who it is that you stand for, and equally what it is that you really, really do. The true essence of what it is that you do. So, branding on a website all boils down to your colors, it boils down to your fonts, it boils down to your tone of voice. And there's one extra thing as well I want to make sure that you're understanding is it boils down to what is the actual brand message. For me, mine is all about helping others to see that they are more than what they see. So I share that message on my own website. Anybody who I work with, I make sure that their messages, their core brand messages are actually shared on their own websites too. Because again, repetition equals reputation. This is a message that I don't want to keep to myself. What is your own message that you want to make sure that your audience equally knows and understands? What is that for yourself? When you share that, you'll understand what branding is on a website. When you implement your colors, your fonts, your tone of voice into your website, you'll understand what branding is on a website. So there we have it. Folks, I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that this video resonated with you. Once again, there's ways to be able to contact me, but more specifically, I wanted to make sure that you do this one next step thing. Tap into these key 6 principles that will allow you to start taking your brand onto that next level for yourself. And it is for yourself, by the way, folks. It's not for everybody, because at the same time, you're on specific journeys. But what these principles will allow you to do is to make sure that you are actually making sure that you're ticking your things off on your to-do list in a way that's actually congruent to the awareness building of your brand. That being said, when you go ahead and click on the link that's in the description box below this video, you'll be taken to, you'll be asked for some information. Please go ahead and provide that so I can then fire over to you these key principles. These key principles are essentially like a checklist. It will help you to understand even more that brand power of 3, but how it can actually be beneficial to yourself. But equally, it will also help you to understand your people, your positioning, your promotion, the way how you can go about promoting yourself, and how you can actually take things that next step further that allows your brand to continuously maintain the reputation that you want for it. I'm going to leave it there, folks. I really hope that this video resonated with you. Please go ahead once again and like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.